Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Kissy. I wanted to do a reading early this morning because interesting. The dream state is really potent, but that's not the message for the collective necessarily. I just want to, meaning that the dreams that I had personally are not the message for the collective, but your dreams can be very significant at this time, making sure that you, even if you can't write them down, record them. That's what I do. I record my dreams. And then, because you think you'll remember, you think uh, it's irrelevant, it's so insignificant, some things that you dream. Yet, when you listen to it in a more conscious way, when you're not drowsy from being sleepy, you can actually see the symbolic nature of the message. But so I have an interesting message today. It's in regards to what I'll call the band of brothers. Okay, so the band of brothers is like an energy field of, it's a collective of masculine, spiritual masculines. Hold on, that are very tuned in to a collective of godliness energy. And God, there's so much to tell about this. Hold on. Divine Feminine. There's masculines that laugh, mock, or I don't really believe. Put it this way, you have the guys that play with magic, and then the ones that understand spiritual, true magic. And by magic, we're not talking about hocus pocus. We're talking about what intention does, what ritual creates, what practice, devotion, all of these things, collectively you create. And there's, I guess you can call them, all right, why am I having such a hard time explaining this now? It's like in my head, I swear, it was clear as day. Clear as day. Maybe there's just too much to tell. All right, so I pulled 3 cards. Before I continue that line of thinking, before we started, I pulled from my Orisha cards. That one's damaged. My Orisha cards from the Tarot of the Orishas deck. Okay, these 3 cards came out. We have the message from Earth, family, fairies and sylphs, and then we have the 5 of water in reverse. Now, I'm not going to personally interpret those. I'm going to read it right from the book because I wanted to dive into the book today a little bit, this book. Okay. Let's do this first. Wow, I'm really like out of it. Not out of it, but it's like there's that flow that flows, and then there's all of this that I have to. Okay, so I saved the pages so I could read them to you. It's not a big passage, by the way, but it's information that I think is going to benefit to hear it from the book. Because I don't like to go based on somebody else's interpretations. I like to use my own. However, in this matter, today, I'm being called to do it this way. Okay? So the message from the Earth. A minute being on the surface and depths of the earth, surrounded by riches provided by his own environment. A goblin, a gnome, representing the earth elemental. He resembles the typical image we have of them. His angular features and protruding eyes emphasize his intelligence and vivacity. His long white beard speaks to his years of rule and betrays his age. He is holding a coin, for these beings are the custodians and faithful guardians of the biggest treasuries. They help in everything connected with wealth and material welfare, protecting cattle from pests and disease, increasing the fertility of the land and the volume of crops, etc. At one side there is a pile of gold, and on the other a sack full of precious stones and coins. In front of him are other gems and nuggets of valuable metals, and beyond them is a four-leaf clover, a symbol of good luck. Western people believe that these spirits live among clover leaves. There is also a sprig of mistletoe, a plant praised by the Druids. The gnomes have been included in many stories, such as those of the Irish countryside, where they are included in castle legends. Some researchers affirm that gnomes are cheerful, funny, and prone to play innocent or harmless jokes on people, such as hiding objects and later causing them to reappear. So, in this upright position, okay, wait, this way. I think the lighting is better here, like that. All right, so in this card, the meaning upright, you will be benefited and rewarded with money or valuables for all the skill and capacity shown in your actions. You have a gift for activities related to the earth, such as agriculture, cattle raising, and particularly mining, fields of study, such as agricultural engineering, farming, laboring, geology, etc., fertility in any kind of plans, desires, and projects. So that's the message for that. And I believe the moon already got into Capricorn, so I think that represents the energies fairly clearly. The fairies. The message of the fairies, this is a shorter message. These elementals govern the mental functions, taking part in telepathic processes, increasing precognition and clairvoyance, increase in intuition and hypersensitivity. The card may represent an old mature man or woman who is a dreamer, sensible, melancholic, inspired, a poet, an artist, teacher, writer, scientist, etc. Someone with a fine character and with strong conviction, faithful and tender, in combination with other, okay, that's not relevant. So those are the fairies and the sylphs. So the last one we have is the Five of Water in reverse. And the message: a man in a river with leeches beneath wants to save himself from drowning by holding onto a branch, but the turbid waters are crowded with dangerous animals whose purpose is to destroy the man through vampirism by feeding themselves with the man's blood. The meaning in reverse says that the possibility of holding on to a new hope. Possibility of holding on to new hope. Perhaps nature pities you, and the tree that you once cut down will start to grow again and develop the branches, the opportunity that you can hold on to be able to get out of that muddy, dangerous water. If your karma so allows, you will start again and try to love and seek love. You will have a new group of friends and a different scale of values. Okay. So I hope that message resonates for you. The reason why I wanted to do the reading first, because when I was discussing the Band of Brothers. Okay, So it's like in layers. It feels like it's like in layers. You have this. It's like as you ascend, or as you go towards higher consciousness, you'll reach a level where there are I guess you could call them the charlatans, the ones that are disconnected emotionally but can watch you react and take pleasure in playing those games with you to get you up, to get you down, to get you to move. However, it's a game to them. Then there's the band of brothers that I was talking about. They're like overseers of these energies. And so they mind their business for the most part. They are very much about free will. They would rather not entertain pettiness and childishness, but they do so because it's their duty to protect individuals that are meant to ascend, individuals that are so if they notice the gatekeeping and all of that, they kind of band together and create like an opening for you to walk through, protected in their energy from these charlatans, is what I like to call them. These are those what I call karmic masculines, or they could even they might not even project themselves like karmic, like a typical karmic masculine, because they come across as very intelligent, or they'll come across as, you know, they know so much, they are very well aware, they can debate on anything, they can teach you a thing or two about a thing or two. They're very wise, but they use it for personal gain. They use it to manipulate. They use it nefariously in some ways. They use it at the expense of at your expense. So the band of brothers comes along and they interject, or they come they block out that influence from affecting you. Now, because also the charlatans think that they have like, they put like a cap on your growth, like they block you from going further into your ascension process, because the thing that what they think is, okay, and that's where I was getting at, these buffoons, because you can say that you channel information, they're so into their ego that they believe themselves to be God, and they're like, oh, this bee thinks she's talking to God when she connects to the mental realm, so let's play God for her. And they do, they try to play God. In it's like, if you take the concepts, okay, oh Lordy, why are you doing this to me? When they talk about aliens, also how aliens came and gave us technologies, and different species came to help advance the human species or whatever, right? I think people assume that they come like from outer space in their little, spaceships. They come through the consciousness. They come through the inner realms. And they show up as energy. They don't, they put themselves in, they show up the way that you would recognize them, based on their frequency. So whatever colors you see, whatever. Anyways, I'm not going to get into that. What I want to say is that they give the ideas. They provide you these ideas. So what makes somebody create a nuclear bomb to destroy people versus somebody that creates, the technologies to liberate humanity? Depends on which higher conscious being you're being influenced by. And so when you have this level of masculine energy that they think they know everything, in other words, they know things they have knowledge, but they don't have wisdom. So they have a lot of knowledge, they have a lot of input, they have a lot of information. And then they play around. They get stuck in that realm, playing around. They play with the minds, and they see how they do a lot of experimenting. They love to play games like that. But like I said, then there's the band of brothers where they understand that this is a level that requires a responsibility to humanity. And because of that, they take, and you can tell the difference. Someone that's extremely focused on their craft, on their purpose, they're doing what they need to do just because that's what they have to do, and they could be very passionate about it. But you don't see that focus is not on an agenda to convince anyone. They're simply, look, this is what I'm working on. If you want to support it, support it. If not, I'll find somebody that will. And it's like, I'm just doing what I have to do. This is like maybe like an Elon Musk kind of energy, hyper focused on creating technologies that are meant to help society. So yeah, this energy, this lower frequency masculine energy, they think that you're beneath them, and that when you're trying to connect to God, they're going to be that middleman to block you from accessing that higher realm. So in their mindset, they think, and it may have worked maybe for a little bit. You may have been in your own innocence going through your, expansion and awareness, not aware of how the influences are playing out, or how they use it. When you're growing into it, you don't know how it's being used, and it moves you here or there. They drive you until you awaken from that and you realize, wait, like what's driving me? And then you hone in on, no, I need to hear that one still voice that I cannot confuse, that one voice that I cannot be misled by. And it's a voice that you recognize because it's been with you always. So it's like your higher self, your higher consciousness, you know who you are. Now, once you tap into that and nothing interferes with your inner voice, and you trust your inner voice, you ascend that band of charlatans. And you may not necessarily access the band of brothers energy consciously, like, hey bro, like you're not necessarily like doing that with them. You are I guess I could say you're encased by them. It's like this is how it shows up to me. It's like a band of angels around you. That's how they look. But it's the energy frequency of pure love. And it could be masculines that tap into that consciousness of pure love, but when it's almost like they're pinged when there's a disturbance in the field. And when it's almost like collectively they rise to the occasion, or they activate that level of overseeing, protection. Listen, I can't explain it very well, but I'm telling you from my experience with it. Take it as you will. It might sound cuckoo to some people, but I know what I'm talking about, damn it. I'm talking about something I've experienced. So whether I'm crazy or not crazy, that's for whoever to determine on their own. I know what I experienced. I may not have the words to explain it very well, but I'm sure that there's knowledge or information about this out there. So, back to what I was saying. So that telepathic thing that you can do isn't interfered with anymore. It's like that interference has been kind of like silenced by this band of brothers. And because even they know that when, as you're ascending or as you're seeking the higher guidance, their influence can guide you. They're not trying to be, they're not meddling in your connection with direct source. You can reach direct source, but as you get to directly connecting to source, you pass through energies of beings that have been there. There's a teacher that has heavily influenced my spiritual growth, Dr. David R. Hawkins. I call him like my spiritual grandfather, because that's exactly what he was to me. He was like my grandfather in the spirit realm. And he showed up to me a few times in my dreams after his passing. But he described reaching the level of consciousness where you do interact with the Buddha, or when the energy that the Buddha was in or Jesus was in. So you know when a frequency is clear and why the energy is what it is. In other words, like somebody can tell you, oh yeah, I'm Christian and blah blah blah, whatever. They'll tell you all this stuff about their beliefs and they're so connected. They believe in God, but nothing about their energy. Nothing about their energy puts you in a space of that consciousness. And that's how you know, because I am some people will literally take you to a hell space consciously. They do that purposely. It's not like you just ended up in a depression. It's not like you just ended up wanting to exit your life existence. It's not like you just wanted to isolate yourself from the world. No, some individuals take you to very, very, very dark spaces. Okay? And that's what this card reminds me of, okay? Like the drowning in emotions, drowning very much in some kind of like very like disgusting space where you feel it's hell. It feels like actual hell. And that's the charlatan energies that play that game a lot. So the test of faith, and that's where you truly solidify your power, is in that space. I had an experience once. It was a dream where I was counseling a man, and we were in a dark room, and it was just me sitting across from him. And from the corner of my eye, I could see like a doorway that had opened up, and like just a light that came through, and there was two shadows of two men, typical like of these kind of stories, right? Top hat kind of, I don't know what they call it, not a top hat, but they had like the inspector hat. They looked like agents. Couldn't see their face, but the energy that I felt, it was like that trembling inside, like fear. It was severe fear that I felt in that moment. And it wasn't like, there was no reason to be afraid. I was talking to a man, everything felt fine. And I felt detached from myself in the story. It was me and this man sitting there, and it's like I was watching it. And the moment I saw that those two entities walked in, it's almost like I was put into the perspective of myself in the dream, and I felt that fear. And in that moment, it was like I came out of that, and my inner prayer was for Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael, help me. Or it was something I think I just called his name. And in that moment, like a force of a giant, I can't describe. Kind of like you see like in the Superman movie, or like when they like land, hard land, and you see that the earth shakes and ripples of the earth. It was that kind of energy. It was in an instant. Just thought of Archangel Michael, and boom, that energy was gone, and I woke up and I was like, oh wow. And many times in dreams, God, I mean, all I say is God, but it's like, it's not just the word, it's, you recognize, oh, I'm in the midst of fear. So it feels like a tornado around you, and you have to get in that center of the eye of the hurricane, tornado, whatever. You have to get into that center space. You have to get calm. You have to get calm. And once you're calm and you call the name in that calm space, that's when you snap out of it, or transported. Like you come out of your dream, or you're transported into a different dream. Whatever the case may be, you cannot call from from the fear space. So even that story when I saw the two gentlemen, it's like when I said I snapped out, it's like I got out of the fear space. I became very conscious. Something's wrong here. Like what is this? My alert to protect came out very quickly, and my alert to protect calms. It's not panic mode. So you get centered and calm, and in that moment, the intention, the prayer, whatever it is, you put that, and that's the force that protects. But yeah. Why did I say that? Oh yes, because there are people that put you in those very, very, very dark energies. Now, whether they're doing it consciously or unconsciously, I would say that as conscious as they think they could be, they're actually not very conscientious, because you cannot be conscientious and have a desire to harm, because that's the ego, or that's using the mind for egoic reasons. Oh, I'm really smart, let me play mind games with you. Oh, I'm really smart, let me harm you because it's fun, because I'm a predator, and that's what predators do. They take pleasure in, they don't want to just kill their prey. They want to see it squirm. They want to see it beg. They want to see it in total fear. It's disgusting. So yeah, so when you're in a realm like that, and it's like it's a battle for your spirit, and that's where um, you may have encountered your divine masculine, the true divine masculine. And I say it like that because the false masculine feels like just anybody else. The false masculine, it's like, let's say, you went out for the first time, you had a date for the first time when you were a teenager. Okay, I liked him. Okay, I fell in love. And, you think all this, and then you break up. And then you move on to someone else. And then it's like, oh, wow, I'm attracted to them. Oh, I developed, I love them. But then you realize that's not really love. It's like the divine masculine, they awakened actual love in you, compassionate love. And that, the way you'll know is it's, you never felt that prior. You could have loved to your capacity, like, oh yes, I love them. And you may still feel love for people from your past, and in a spiritual way, like, you don't want to harm them and you wish them the best or whatever. But when I say a soul love, that's what the masculine brought out. And that's the energy that saved you from being trapped in a small world. And that small world is the level of consciousness that surrounded you was limited, not because of you, but because every time you try to expand or upgrade, you would feel pulled to stay there. It's like the crabs in the barrel kind of energy. You're trying to get out of the barrel. You know this can't be life. This can't be life. This stagnant water, this clutter of individuals, this cannot be life. So let me crawl myself out of this. And little by little you crawl out of it, you disassociate, but they keep pulling you down. And you could have been, when you met your masculine, right at the edge. Right at the edge. And it's almost like he grabbed onto you and let you fall all the way to the bottom. But you got a taste of, I got out. I got to see that there is something out there more than this. It's like he lifted you out of the barrel. Imagine like a eagle grabbing a prey, but then dropping it back in, or I don't know, by accident, on purpose. It felt like, alerts, what happened here? Why did you drop my ass like this? It's not cute, it's not funny. But no, it's like, let me wake you up and put you back in where you were. So now from that ground floor, you can see where you were, really see where you were, really see what was surrounding you. Open your eyes to where you were. You're like, oh my God, this again? All of this? I was here? Ugh. Crawl out and climb out and go through those little battles again and reaffirm who you are. It gives you it's like, no bitch, I know who I am now. I saw what's on the other side. I'm getting out of here. And nothing is going to stop me. It's almost like this masculine wanted to see you fight for your life. You needed to fight for your life because he's not going to do it for you. It's like the band of brothers. Like I said, free will. This masculine is connected to this band of brothers energy. And it's not, they take it very seriously that they don't interfere with your free will. They don't interfere at all with your free will. It has to be you and God, you and Source, you and yourself, knowing. You have to know without a shadow of a doubt who you are before you interact in this divine union. Now, the divine masculine could have been for you, because of the frequency level, you felt him in the deepest way, in the most holistic way. So naturally, your 3D person, your ego self, is going to associate that with what we understand as love, as romantic love, as attractive. I'm attracted to you. I'm in love with you. Those energies. It's like on the human level, that's what it feels like. On the spiritual level, that's like not even. I don't want to say that it's not even a thing. It's like that's not even the most impressive thing or the most valuable thing. It's the authority of, I don't know how to put it. You respect or you admire their you trust in their connection with source, because it resonates with you. So it doesn't feel personal in that way. It feels like I don't know, oh Lord, it feels impersonal in that you connect with them on a larger scale than just a romantic energy. So you can feel, why are we not together? I thought, it was real, or I thought that, what you could assume a lot of things, but when the connection is of that nature, the free will dictate that you can do what you want with that connection. In other words, it could have just been that moment. This moment means, the what made them your divine masculine is that your consciousness now has the blueprint of true divine masculine. So had you been born in divine masculine energy, your life would have been something different. You were not born in divine masculine and out of divine masculine energy. And that's not to talk trash about our predecessors, ancestors, whatever. But the consciousness had to be upgraded. And that's what happened. So maybe the purpose of the masculine alone was just to open you to that level of consciousness, that once you reach that, you're like, wow, a whole new world, a dazzling place I've never been. Let me take a sippity sip. So yeah, that's my take on the masculine. So there's no need for discouragement, because the love is really genuinely there. But it may not be the romantic dynamic that you're conditioned to believing it's supposed to be. Not to say that it can't, but that it may not be that. It may just have been. There's a thing that I read a long time ago. People come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. So it could have just been, the reason could have just been to get you into the sphere of surpassing that limit of energy that was trying to keep you limited, get you past that threshold so that you could develop your connection with source without the interference of that negative influence. And that's that. And then from there, you can just live in your purpose, and with whether or not you encounter in the physical realm someone of that caliber of consciousness, that's to be determined. That's God's will, that's free will, whatever. That's serendipity, synchronicity, I don't know. But that's how I see it. Now, if this masculine, because I believe that as he ignited this in you, you ignited in him the level of, it's like you opened him up to a different realm, the other side of God, or the other side of that wisdom, the shadow side of that wisdom within himself. And in the same way, it's a deep dive. In the same way, it opens up parts of him that he wasn't privy to before. It wasn't unlocked by anyone else before. And the reason you would know this is because you cannot, okay. The reason why I never worked out in the past with anyone else, I'm guessing you if you've had several relationships, you would have probably ended it because things weren't changing. It's not changing. These people couldn't ignite in you a change that was necessary. The spiritual nourishment required for you to change. And the change is the expanded consciousness. That's how I see it. And I feel like that's what it was. You know that this masculine changed because you changed, actually. You were influenced to upgrade. You were influenced to level up. You did not have that before, not to that level, or maybe not at all. Some people did not inspire you to change. Some people did not motivate you to grow. Some people did not inspire you to. It's almost like you were doing this for yourself. This was your desire to grow. And yes, these people can affect you, can inform you. I guess you could say, like, you can gather experience. But if it doesn't sustain you emotion, if it doesn't like nourish you, if it doesn't grow you, if it doesn't feed you, more of you, of who you are, if it doesn't show you there's more of you that can be seen from, you know what I mean? Like if all you get to see of yourself is darkness and things that you don't like if all this person wants to pull out of you is your negativity, your sense of self might be out of balance. Your sense of self might not be at its best potential. The masculine shows you everything that you haven't embraced in you yet, and allows you to flourish. I think that's why the masculine comes into your life, goes through that separation period, in order to allow the seeds to grow, in order to allow you to explore all those things that were laying dormant within you, all those things that you wanted to explore but didn't have the freedom to explore. So, like in my case, I grew up in an environment where I didn't have the space to be in my silence. I didn't have the place to be in my feminine energy. And so I had to fight to have my space to be in my feminine energy, to be in my solitude, to be in my quietude, to be in my intuitive self. So all that, having to fight for that, and it just kept me in the physical reality that was not pleasant. Once I was forced into like a dark space because I gave up the fight in a sort of way, like, oh, like this is, I don't want to do this anymore. But it's almost like you're not even yourself anymore. It's like you're just the shell of who you are, and the you within you, it's like you can feel it dying, or you could feel it, dwindling down, the flame kind of losing its sizzle. And that's a very, very hard place to be in. It's painful, it's lonely, it's difficult to grapple with. It can make you very bitter. It can make you very ungrateful because it feels very hopeless. But when you gather that one, like when you have that one little last push, you know what? No. And you do it, and you're like, no, I'm going to fight one more time. Fight for your life. and you walk away from that thing or that person or that situation that was draining the life out of you, literally draining the life out of you, you escape it, and you're like, fine, this is being on the rim of that barrel, of the crab barrel. This is like you finally getting out of that water and getting to the rim. You're like, yes, I'm here, but you're not quite being able to see on the other side. You're literally just holding on. You know you're out of the water, but you're still hanging on to this barrel. And comes in this masculine, like a bird that swoops you up, lifts you into the sky, shows you the world outside of where you've been. You're like, holy shit, all of this. But then somehow you fall back in that barrel. But you can never forget. You never forget that moment. That moment. That moment that validated all of that experience, all that pain in that little moment was worth everything. In other words, it's like you didn't go through it for nothing. It almost gives you like it gives you that sense of it wasn't for nothing. Oh, all of this was so that I can reach this moment, so that I can see that this is true, that my knowing that there was something better out there really is a thing. Now I have to go and get it. Now I have to go and be there. Now I have to make it happen. I have to put myself in that place where I can be in that space, right? So that's doing the work. Coming out of that barrel again, seeing the cycles of what you've been through, going through those waters again, dealing with those same individuals again. And then you might have to go through that, go up and fall, go up and fall, go up and fall. But every time you go up, you take the lesson, you fall, you get strategic, and now you find another way. That doesn't work. Try another way. Eventually you get back to the top. Eventually you crawl out. Eventually you're in a whole new world. And now it's a matter of just being in that new world, defining who you are in this new world for yourself based on the explorations that you're doing. It's like the curiosity is going to be there to consistently discover who you are. It's like, wow, I attracted this. Wow, I manifested that. Wow, this came into my life, right? It's like the clarity to see the symbiotic relationship that you have with the divine masculine comes with greater ease from that space, because you're no longer in those toxic waters surrounded by those crabs that want to pull you down. So I think that's the message. I'll come back soon. Take care.